Welcome to episode 190 of our Casino Combat Podcast. Before we start, here is the battle plan for this episode. First up, after we open the show, we are going to have a moment of concepts segment so we can think about something I'm calling the Mitch Scale. Trust me, you will never look at casino behavior exactly the same way again. Then we have a Questions My Sons Ask segment, which will illustrate exactly why the Mitch Scale is a tool that you need to understand and apply to your casino visits. And then finally, we're going to adjourn to the virtual VIP lounge for what will be, from my point of view, the most important segment I have ever done on this podcast. So here we go. Let's get started. Oh, and our artist for this episode is B.O.B.
I hope you understand. He was born a rambling man.
It's me, it's TRG, the Rambling Gambler, just trying to make a living and doing the best I can. I am so glad you are here, everyone. This may not be a long episode, but it is a very, very important one. We have so much going on in the casino combat galaxy. In fact, I am realizing more and more that we have so much going on, it's getting tough to cover all of it here without making what is going on in the galaxy the entirety of the podcast. But we've got Gator Gambler flying around the country for high-stakes blackjack tournaments. We've got the natural Riptide Halfling who's just starting out on his gambling trips and journeys and has been putting in the work and laying the foundation and is starting to see comp offers show up in his mailbox. We've got Nakatomi Tony seeing that if you do the things this podcast teaches, you can lead a very attractive casino-enhanced lifestyle. Over the past maybe 18 months, NT built his status with the Caesars properties in Atlantic City, among others, and those are now his playground. Caesars is reopening the lounges full scale. He's eating free anytime he wants. His parking's all taken care of. Comps almost anytime he has time to hit up one of the properties. All just things that have been taught here. I could go on, but let me focus on three quick, specific, additional things that are going on in the casino combat galaxy that affect each and every person listening to my voice. Tuesday News Day, delivered to your inbox each and every Tuesday from Substack, is one of the best ways to keep up with everything that's going on with the squad and the podcast, and also the best way to keep up with what is going on with comps, laws, markets, and all things gambling related going on around the world. If you go to casinocombat.com/chip, there is a link there that you can pick up a free subscription to the Tuesday News Day Substack that we send out. Speaking of Chip, we have a new podcast mascot cleverly named Chip. He has started to show up in the Substack and in some of our social media posts. Keep an eye out for him. He's a lot of fun. He's going to be around a lot. Kind of a way for us to find each other if we're wearing his gear, or realize that content is about what we have going on if we see it on social media. Finally, next week, we'll be starting Operation Volcanic Velocity, which I will tell you about in the virtual VIP lounge today. And that leads up to Tuesday, May 19th. When my first book, and maybe I should say our first book, but the Book of Casino Wisdoms, Our Guide to Smarter Gambling, Better Comps, and the Casino Lifestyle, will be available May 19th from Amazon. And that R is very important to me. Certainly I wrote the book, and big chunks of it are my words and my ideas. But lots of members of the squad contributed to the book. Both ACE and Dr. ECE discovered a wisdom that is in the book. Gabriel and Walking Wikipedia have a wisdom in the book, right? Casino wisdom number 82 was written by Inner Circle member Keeper of Wisdoms. The point is, this is our book. This is our knowledge in book form. Okay, if this is your first time and that sounds like a lot to take in, no worries. Go back again, as I said, casinocombat.com/chip. In addition to the Substack subscription link, there is also a link to Casino Combat 101 right there at the top of the page. Everything you need is there to understand what's going on with this podcast and this squad. And if it's not clear once you're there, send an email to me, trg@casinocombat.com, spell combat with a K. And I will be happy to help you get settled in, to find what you need, to make yourself at home, and to be part of our squad. We are truly grateful and glad that you are here. All right. This next one's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go do a moment of concepts.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind.
Thing means nothing.
What? A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination.
Looking for a protein shake that tastes as good as it performs? Meet Rockin' Protein Max. Packed with 50 grams of fuel, it'll help you keep up when your day won't slow down. And because it's always creamy and never chalky, every sip tastes great. Even better, it's lactose-free and has 0 added sugar. It's not every day you find a protein shake you actually want to finish. Catch Rockin' Protein in the dairy cooler at a store near you. Rockin' Protein and Shamrock Farms are registered trademarks of Shamrock Foods Company.
If data management is slowing down your business, you need the Intuit ERP. If one entity is here, and one here, and one here, and one here, you need the Intuit ERP. If scaling your business feels like starting over, you need the Intuit ERP. Intuit Enterprise Suite is the AI-native ERP solution that consolidates, migrates, and automates, all in one place. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
Moment of Concept segments are a space where we can sit with big ideas about gambling and casinos for a little bit. And I often like to anchor those with a combination of a wisdom and a core concept. But today I want to talk about another big idea that has come out of this podcast over the last several years. Something that's become a regular part of our group vocabulary when we're together. And that something is to talk about if an action is a hero move or a crook move as it relates to our time in and around casinos. And to catch you up if this is your first time, I personally am a big fan of Jimmy Buffett's work as a singer and a songwriter. A number of his songs have influenced me, and I know you're thinking, well, of course they have. I mean, everyone knows about Being Wasted in a Town Named After a Drink. Many people know about Fins or Cheeseburgers, the party songs, right? It would be easy to go, well, he influenced me. You know, I do like a good beer now and then. But that's not what I mean at all. He also wrote a lot of songs that had philosophical things in them. And one of those songs has a lyric that goes kind of like this: as a dreamer of dreams and a traveling man. And notice it's not traveling man, it's traveling man. The great ones, all the great ones, drop the G. Trust me on this. I know, it's a unique club. Anyway, as a dreamer of dreams and a traveling man, I've chalked up many a mile, read dozens of books about heroes and crooks, and I learned much from both of their styles. And as a young man, I found the idea that you could learn things of value, not just from the good guys, but also from the bad guys. I found that to be really useful and informative. And perhaps what they were teaching us was not just what not to do, but that Crooks could teach us something about what to do as well. And I've mentioned this idea in the podcast a lot of times over the years. And we even sell merch, we sell hats in the merch store that say hero or crook. One's a white hat and one's a black hat. And then we also have a gray hat that has hero on the front and crook on the back so that you can turn it around depending on the situation you're in. And over the course of this podcast, and kind of in conjunction with this idea, I've gotten to know a member of the squad named Mitch. Mitch lives his life as honestly as he possibly can, and has admitted it sometimes even to his own detriment. He will do the right thing, even if it has significant consequences for himself. I admire that. I can respect that. I can. I freely admit that is not a standard that I often live up to. I am not as much of a hero on the hero scale as Mitch is. And Mitch also enjoys calling me out when I don't live up to his standards. And we have actually had a lot of fun email conversations philosophically about some of those things as we've gotten to know each other. So, with his permission, I am revealing to you today the Mitch Scale, something I created, but he agreed to have his name on it. And if you are driving, don't worry, I'm going to go over it briefly, but this is all available in the Fred section of our website so that you can download this whole thing. So here's the idea. With a bit of help from Kismet, I have identified both hero and crook spectrums of player behavior that we are calling the Mitch Scale. And in the process of doing that, in the process of trying to come up with some examples for you, I came up with some other behaviors that add a third axis. Axis? Is that the right word? Yeah, a third axis to the Mitch Scale. And I'm going to leave that as a surprise. We're going to start with the hero side. Now, on the hero side, we have 5 levels of hero behavior. And this goes from level 1, a level 1 hero, right? A level 1 hero move. Level 1 is just a tourist, right? They're here. They're happy they're here. They don't have enough idea about what's going on in a casino to really help anybody with anything, but they might stumble into it accidentally. Right? They might accidentally do something that's a hero move that's super helpful, that's super honest, that's very straightforward. It's all the best, but it's an accident. Level 2 is a muggle. Now, they have no special awareness of the hero crook scale. They haven't really been initiated into casino culture yet. But a muggle is a hero when he does things like follow basic strategy because they read about it somewhere. A player hits a hand pay on a slot machine and goes to the bathroom while waiting for the attendant, and they leave their player's card in the machine, and you stand nearby. This is a muggle, right? We're going to make sure, even though it's not our monkeys, not our zoo, we weren't asked, but we're such a good person that we are going to protect that machine for the person who didn't realize and walk away. That's level 2 on the hero scale. And I'll admit, those were a little hard to come up with. Those were a little tricky. Like with casino tiers and levels, level 3 is where it starts to get interesting on the hero side. This is a Padawan, right? This is someone who's got a sense of what's going on in the casino, can do some hero things, not just the right thing, but some things to help people out, some buying the coffee kinds of things, right? Steering a table newcomer away from bad bets. That's a Padawan move on the hero crook scale. Sharing comp bets with a non-player. Meals for guests, meals for people that are just starting. That's certainly a hero move. That's certainly a very cool thing to do for people. Tipping dealers consistently when winning. A beginner hero move, right? Absolutely a beginner hero move. You realize you know a dealer from your gym. You don't say anything. You play normally and tip generously at the end of the shoe. Trying to do the right thing, but not drawing attention to yourself. Right? This is kind of a Padawan move. Over tipping because you know the person is a hero move, but there's a certain level of lack of expertise there. Or a player next to you goes on tilt after a bad beat, starts making wild oversized bets. You color up and leave to find a calmer table, protecting your own game, not trying to capitalize on the stupidity and the craziness. Once again, that's a wise man move. That's a smart move. That's a hero move. That's a solid. I would expect Padawan heroes to be able to do that, to recognize a negative situation and pull themselves out of it. Level 4, here we go. Wise man. Experienced, genuinely helpful, self-aware about what they're doing and about the fact that some things could go either way. So, comping a stranger's Red Bull using your tier status. Correcting a dealer's mistake that benefits the entire table. Or a player is drunk and making terrible bets at the blackjack table. The dealer and the other players are getting frustrated and you ignore it, or maybe even kind of steer the conversation by mentioning that it really doesn't matter. You calm the situation down because you're a wise man and you've been in these situations before. You've earned a comp buffet to feed a visiting nephew and teach him what to watch for and avoid on the casino floor. Wise man. Solid hero move. You notice a specific slot machine in your regular casino consistently pays out better in the early morning hours. You plan your visits around that window and you keep it to yourself. That is a wise man hero move. That is not a crook move. That is a wise man move. And finally, level 5, the Paladin level, selfless, principled, helps others at personal cost, no ambiguity, always does the right thing with intent and purpose. A great example of that would be correcting a dealer mistake that costs you but saves another player. Yeah, that we're going to talk about this more in a little bit. I'm not sure I'm there, unless it's my wife, unless it's a member of the squad. Like I'm not sure I'm giving up what's mine to save somebody else there. But that's the point of all this, right? That is the point of all of this, is that it's a spectrum, and you're not one or the other. I think you're going to be a blend. So let's look at the other side. Let's look at some crook behavior and kind of where it falls. So level 1, we're calling that a trickster. Someone that's opportunistic. See, these are things, right? These are things that a paladin would not do. These are things Mitch would not do. To his credit, you can decide for yourself. Trickster is opportunistic, does minor, victimless things, and kind of does it with a wink and a shrug. Using a high-tier card that you found laying around to get free parking at a casino. That's a trickster move. It's not the right thing to do. That's not right. It's not morally sound. Or using a spouse or friend's player's card to earn points on your play. Okay. Not so bad. Not so bad, right? That's fine. You don't have your card, or you're trying to help a friend. It's against the rules. It's against the terms and conditions of almost every single player's card to do that. It is against, you're not supposed to do that. But lots and lots of people have 2 cards, and both spouses use the same card for slot play, and they just pound the points on that card to get status on that card, right? So that's a trickster thing. It's wrong. You should not do it, but it's not super serious. No one's really getting hurt unless you really get out on the fringes of that. Level 2, a rogue. Self-serving, a little shady, but not organized about it, not with a lot of intent. A good example here would be not correcting a dealer overpayment. Yeah, the dealer's getting ready to pay you wrong, and you don't point it out. A rogue on the hero crook spectrum, a rogue move. Rat-holing chips. Yeah, it's hiding chips, squirreling them away so the house doesn't know how much money you've won. That's a crook move. It is. I would say it's a smart move. I would say it's something you should do with good technique, but not what you're supposed to do. Or you get a mailer from a casino you've never visited in a nearby state offering a free hotel night and $50 of free play. Because you're going anyway, you book it, pull the free play, cash out what you can, and leave without putting any money of your own into action. Rogue. Yeah, it's a crook move. Yeah, now, and I'll be honest, right? Some of these could be either way, right? A tourist, we could have somebody, because this applies self-serving and shady and that kind of stuff. That implies you have enough knowledge to know that that's not the way it's supposed to be done, right? You could just be a tourist and with the best of intentions, just go ahead and take advantage of the house. But that's kind of a crook move. It is. A grifter, level 3, grifter, skilled system exploitation, knows exactly what they're doing and why. And honestly, this is the level I expect us to behave on, right? It's a spectrum. You can have hero tendencies and crook tendencies, unless you're a paladin. If you're a paladin, you really can't do crook things, if that's your goal. But if you're just a wise man, you also ought to be a grifter, in my never so humble opinion, right? I think you want to blend some of these. I don't think this is an either or, right? If this was D&D, you could be both. You could be a hero / crook. Right, you could have two sets of skill trees that you blend together, and you can never you're blocked at level 4 on the hero side if you're also leveling up your crook side. That's a great way to see this. Yeah, I'd be a wise a wise man grifter on this scale. I would be a wise man grifter on this scale is exactly what I would be, right? Because I've been leveling up both sides. Advantage player card counting, right? Not illegal, not a crime, but not something you're supposed to do. Not the right thing, okay? Another great example of that would be like a paladin given the opportunity, a paladin on the hero side, given the opportunity to see the dealer's whole card because they don't have a mirror, exploiting a dealer lack of skill or sloppiness and seeing a card you're not supposed to see and using that advantage. See, a paladin doesn't do that because they're at that level of the hero scale, a level I'm never going to get to and don't aspire to, right? But if you're like me, if you're a wise man grifter or a grifting wise man, you're taking advantage of the fact that you can see a card you should not be able to see or you're not supposed to see. Harvesting perks from a dead relative's player's card. Definitely a crook move. Not right. Shouldn't do it if you're being a paladin. But definitely something I would tell you to go ahead and do if it wasn't going to hurt anybody. If it wasn't going to hurt anybody else in your family or anything like that. Or you see $3.47 left on an abandoned slot machine. You sit down, you put in $5, you spend 40 cents once, and then pantomime a phone call and cash out, profiting $3.07 plus whatever the spin paid, and you had no intention of playing the game. You're just taking advantage of the fact that there's a mistake, and you're trying to avoid doing anything the cameras would consider shady. Or a slot machine malfunctions mid-spin, the screen shows a big win, but also flashes an error. The attendant resets the machine and pays you the big win without checking the logs. You take the money and move on. I'm putting casino wisdom right there and saying let them do their job, but it's a crook move. It's a sophisticated crook move to be knowledgeable enough in the casino to be aware of what should happen and then just sit there and accept the payout and move on with things, right? Villains, level 4 on the crook scale, villains, okay? No laws broken, but real people get hurt. Premeditated betrayal of trust. I try not to do these. And at the same time, if you do decide to do some of these, that's a you choice, right? I, of all people, am not judging. There is no real judgment here. I'm just laying it out the way I see it. Ghosting expected play on a hosted trip with no other outside circumstances. It's not that you got food poisoning. It's not that you went in knowing what was expected. You had the ability, both physically, mentally, and financially, to do what was expected, and you just intentionally didn't do it. You just, in the face of knowledge and skill and ability, you just didn't do it in any way. Didn't even try or tried very little, right? Falsely claiming a jackpot dispute or a bad beat. Yeah, flat out lying and somebody else is getting hurt. Other unprovoked player-on-player harm. I am big on this, right? I am a big believer in paraphrasing Aleister Crowley, certainly a crook, well, a creep. Maybe not a crook, I don't know, but certainly a creep, certainly a weird dude. I'm a big fan of paraphrasing him and saying, if you're not hurting anybody else, if you're not hurting another player, that's the important part. If you're not hurting another player, if you're not hurting a member of our squad or a potential member of our squad, kind of what you do is nobody's business. But doing something to another person, doing something that hurts another player or takes from another player when they haven't done anything to you, I'm putting that as villain. Winning big with lots of dealer coaching and then tipping 0. I admit you could argue that person's a muggle, would have to see it in action. Situational judgment certainly applies, but intentionally, with knowledge and forethought, doing well because a dealer helped you and coached you and gave you good advice and you win big. I'm talking you buy in for $200 and you win $2 or $3 grand and you didn't tip anything, you're a villain. You are. You're a villain in my mind. That's where I'm putting. And finally, in a direct ripoff of Star Wars, level 5 on the Crooks scale, Sith, right? Just like Star Wars. This is criminal. This is things that'll get you arrested. Using a device to cheat, bribing a pit boss, deliberately missizing a bet and claiming dealer error, past posting, and marking cards. You know, all of those. And the biggest thing here for me is I'm not crossing the line over things that have me in jail. I'm just not. I will play hard. And I will play right to the edge of what's ethical and unethical, and I'll cross that line a little bit, but I'm not crossing the line into things that could lead to arrest, that could be considered collusion, that could be considered trying to use a device to get an advantage. I'm not any of those. So that's our Sith level. And just a few comments, and some of these I think I've probably already made, but all of these ratings, all of these levels, all of this sense of this idea that we're kicking around here during a moment of concepts is from the player's point of view, right? Like a lot of things in a lot of situations, you could look at a lot of this from the house's point of view, and the house might have a different view. The things we think are hero, the house might think are crook. Most of the crook things the house is going to think is a crook thing. But we're looking at this through the player lens. And we're exempting things like poker and other situations where you wager against other players directly. We're exempting that from a don't hurt other players point of view. If you're playing poker at some level, the only way you can play the game is if both people are trying to hurt each other a little bit, right? You got to take the other guy's chips. Somebody's got to win them and somebody's got to lose them. Provoked responses are more judged on their own merit, depending on what someone's done and how they've done it. I might look at something and go, yeah, that's not a crook move. They deserve that one. I'm going to give that to you. And as I said, I think for players, it's a range of operation, not a level. It's a spectrum, or you're leveling up, as I said, D&D style, two sets of skills at the same time. Wise Man Grifter, as I said, that's where I want to land. I want to do almost all the good things that I can do to help other players that don't in some way have a negative for me. And I want to shade the line a little bit. I'm not trying, as I said, I believe you got to play hard if you're not crossing the line a little bit, right? If you're not, if you're going, well, this isn't my card, so I'm going to refuse free parking. Yeah, that's not me. I'm not saying it can't be you, but that's not me. So you're going to have a mix, I think, of range of actions. And then the fun thing about this is, as I was going through this and thinking about situations and thinking about things people could do in a casino, we added a third axis. We added a third range. I don't think you would ever level these up intentionally. But we added the moron side. We added the hero side, a crook side, and a moron side. Actions that are dumb, actions that are self-defeating, or carry legal risk or relational risk that a sensible person really wouldn't do. A sensible player wouldn't do these things. And this can be ignorance, this can be carelessness, this can be misplaced confidence. It's not malice. And the moron side sits right along the hero side and the crook side as a third way to behave, right? So you could end up with some of this. You could end up having some levels of the moron side of things on your scale along with your hero side and your crook side all the way around. Level 1, clueless. Generally doesn't know better, no experience, no harm done beyond something mild, and maybe some embarrassment. Leaving credits on a machine when walking away. Forgetting to insert your player's card for the entire session. Yep, okay. I perhaps am a clueless wise man grifter. I've done that once or twice. Playing without understanding the rules of the game. Yeah, look, in a pure casino combat sense, playing with no understanding of the rules of the game, not a fan. Kind of not something I'd be into. Before I sit down at a game, I don't know unless I got somebody to teach me. Unless, if Doc says, here, come see this game, I'll show you how to play. I'm going to trust Doc. I'm going to go sit down with East Coast Emissary PhD and see what he has to show me. But if I don't have a guide, if I don't have a helper, I'm getting on wizardofodds.com and getting some knowledge and some training. Level 2, Fool. Should know better. Pattern of small self-inflicted wounds. Chasing losses with bets outside your bankroll plan. And we're going to have some fun during some future content. We're going to have some fun with that idea of chasing. But certainly chasing losses with bets outside your original bankroll and plan. It's kind of foolish. Skipping the player's card because it's only a short session. Foolish. Also foolish to not get a player's card because you don't want the mailers at your house. Very foolish. Drinking past the point where your decisions are sound. A lot of people do it. I've probably done it. Definitely a foolish thing to do. Level 3. Dunce. Taking real money off the table through pure carelessness. No malice, just sloppy. And this is losing a hand pay ticket before you cash it. Forgetting to track play on a hosted trip and failing expected ADT without realizing it, without any intent, maybe because you didn't know. You didn't understand that there was an expectation that went with the comp. This is making you a dunce through lack of trying to understand what's going on. And walking away from a machine without cashing out credits that you had earned, right? That I suspect more of us have done it than realize, but that falls on the moron side of things. Yeah, if we're leveling up, we've leveled up the moron side there. Obviously, we'd like to minimize where we fall on the moron side of this thing. Level 4, idiot. Crossing a legal or ethical line without realizing it or pretending not to. Small crimes committed casually, right? This is the person who sees $15, $20 lying on the ground and picks it up instead of turning it in. They just don't know. Or worse, they see credits left over in a machine and they just walk up and take them. It's a significant amount. They're not trying to disguise it. They're not trying to hide it. They're just taking the money because it's there. Using someone else's comps without their knowledge. That could go a lot of places, which is the nice thing about these. Some of these could go in a variety of categories depending on the situation. Borrowing a chip off the table rail when the dealer isn't looking. That's got to be that you don't know that's wrong. For that to fall here in our range, that's got to be you just don't realize. You are just so oblivious to how everything works that you just think that's okay. Level 5, imbecile. Self-destruction with a side of stupidity. The behavior that gets you trespassed or arrested or permanently blacklisted with no real gain. Arguing loudly with a pit boss over a small, correct rule. So the scenario here is the pit boss is right. You don't know the pit boss is right, and you are arguing and yelling for an extended period of time. Let's go with that interpretation. And then the last two, beyond that, getting caught on camera committing a petty crime for petty money. Yeah, it's just...
Best gift ever!
A Lego set is a gift that always clicks. And clicks.
Woo! Next level!
And clicks. For kids who love gaming, choose a Lego set. The gift that always clicks.
You've got to be incredibly stupid to not know something's a crime, commit the crime, and then get caught committing the crime. And then finally, another example of just pure stupidity, a true imbecile thing to do, bragging on social media about continuously taking advantage of some flaw in what the casino is doing. An unprotected game, something you know is wrong, taking advantage of it. I'm happy to put that at wise man on the Crook scale. But if you then put it all over social media, or if you stand there in the middle of the casino and tell your friend about it in a loud voice, if you make public what you know, yeah, you're an imbecile. Some quick thoughts I had here. The distinction between moron and crook is intent. Crooks know what they're doing and choose to do it. and they make a judgment on how far they're willing to go. Morons either don't know, don't care, or are too careless to realize what's going on. The same action, as I just observed, can land on multiple scales depending on intent and awareness. A host trip ghost can be a tourist, ignorance, a villain, deliberate, or a high moron, carelessness, or a little bit of all of those all at the same time. That's kind of what we're dealing with here, right? We didn't do this in Moment of Concepts because it's cut and dried. That's not Moment of Concepts. We're doing this in Moment of Concepts because it's an idea, a thought exercise, a way to look at things, a thing we can kick around when we're together as a group and have some fun with. As I said, available check in with Fred, the Fred section of the website. You can download this and take a look at it yourself. And then the next thing we're going to do is a Questions My Sons Ask segment, because I've got an illustration of this that I want to use and point out something to answer this question.
What?
My sons ask questions about gambling, and listeners ask questions about gambling. In this case, the listener is Excelsior Brigade member Gray Squirrel, who sent an email with a great question that ties right exactly into this discussion we were just having about the Mitch Scale. And Gray Squirrel says, "Hey TRG, I would like your opinion on a situation that occurred this weekend for me. I visited a nearby casino that is newly opened and not fully expanded yet, so their infrastructure is minimal at best. When I went to the kiosk to get a player's card, I asked the attendant if they tier matched. She said yes, so I gave her a card that is second tier at another nearby casino, but they didn't have a reference for it. She continued inputting my info and handed me a player's card and said I had $50 in free play. I noticed that the card she gave me is their top tier, which is probably a mistake. I used the card and the free slot play and left there up $100. Now for the hero or crook aspect. There is another casino that I plan to visit that has their own reward systems. So if they tier match, would it be a crook move to use the new top tier card to get the best initial benefit? I'm sure I won't be able to retain that card level at either casino, but would still like to see what offers come in for the short term. So, hero or crook, thanks for all you do for the community, Gray Squirrel." So I emailed Gray Squirrel back, and I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit. To be honest, I guess two things can be true at the same time, right? Yes, it's a crook move. And yes, you damn well better go use it and take advantage of it, right? This is in that area of, yes, I expect you to know it's a crook move. And yes, I expect you to execute that crook move as aggressively as you can. I expect you to level up everything you can with that card for as long as you can. Absolutely expect you to do that, 100%. Unless your goal is to function at the Paladin level in the hero crook spectrum, right? Unless that's what you're trying to do. If you're trying to be a paladin in the scale I just gave you on the Mitch scale, then you can't do this, right? The paladin should go back and say, "Oh, I don't think you should have given me this card." A paladin level hero tries to do the right thing, get it corrected, get a second tier card or a third tier card, whatever's appropriate. Maybe get that free slot play dialed back. If they can't, they don't use all the free slot play because that wouldn't be right. But unless you're trying to function at a paladin level, unless that's your goal, unless that's what you're trying to do, you absolutely keep this card and you absolutely try to put this card to use to level up other things. I think you are almost on the moron scale, in my opinion, how I try to live my casino lifestyle, if you don't try to take advantage of that in some way. It's a big, complicated game full of lots of gray area choices. But I don't think you're not hurting any other players at all. Most of the other properties are thrilled to have you explore some of their amenities that come with higher perk to see what it's like to live at a higher tier. And you may very well decide that that's a tier you want to earn, right? That's doing a level. That's why they do it. So I think you have an obligation. If you're a skilled player and that's your goal, if you're a skilled member of the squad, I would be disappointed. Any member of the squad that told me they weren't trying to take advantage, I would be a little disappointed. Unless they prefaced it by saying, I'm trying to operate at a Paladin level on the hero scale, so I'm not okay, lay it out for me that way. I'll go with that. That's cool. Like, I don't have an objection, but I do think it's a crook move, and I think it's a crook move you should be making.
Lyrics, dude. Recite him some lyrics.
That's right. We didn't do lyrics yet. I said B.O.B. lyrics to start the show. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, a wish right now, a wish right now. And I really could use a wish. And you can all grant that wish. So let's go hang out in the virtual VIP lounge for a little bit and talk about that and let me lay that out for you.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the most must-listen-to segment in casino lifestyle podcasting, the virtual VIP lounge. Our lounge is open, and we have the best virtual everything virtually all the time. The best virtual food and drink served anywhere on the interwebs, guaranteed, or your money back. All right, I gotta tell you, folks, I've had a bit of a head cold. My voice is struggling to keep up to the task here. I've got a Deer Park water, everybody. Deer Park still water. Nothing fancy. Nothing bougie today. That's what I'm sipping on. I've been pulling long hours to get this book finished. But if you can, press pause, pour yourself something, get a plate. I got something really important to talk to you about. Certainly if we were in a lounge, I'd be sipping a little whiskey at this point, or a little bourbon or something, and may need to do that in a minute. But let's let Katie do her stuff, pour what you need, and we'll get right back to this.
If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit your state-specific helpline. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
All right, boy, I have learned some things writing this book. Not what I want to talk about, but as an aside to the disclaimer there, in writing this book, I have learned a lot. And one of the things I have learned is that there are serious consequences to doing gambling commentary and not putting a disclaimer like that in the content. And I'm fortunate that I've been doing it all along, and I've tried to do it in ways across time that are interesting or amusing or something, but I've learned how really important it is for that to be there. I guess to continue quoting B.O.B., if I could have a dream or a genie or a wish, I do have a wish. My wish is that this book isn't something we read as a squad. I want this book to be something that we use to find more squad members, that we use to teach what we've learned to other people. And all of you can grant that wish. If I launch this book on May 19th, and I buy 2 copies and my parents buy a copy, and then Nakatomi Tony buys a copy, and then 3 days later, Gator Gambler buys a copy, and a week later, my sister buys a copy. That's it. It's done. The book's dead. It'll sit on Amazon forever. You'll be able to go buy it. Other people that listen to the show that don't listen to now will be able to buy it, but Amazon won't show it to anyone. Amazon will see the book as a vanity piece, and when people search for casino comps and click on Frugal Gambler, our book will not be there as books people also liked. When they search card counting, our book isn't there with Thorpe's book, if that's how the first week and a half of this book go. But if we can focus and execute as a squad for about 7 to 10 days, we can create what Amazon considers velocity. Amazon looks at this and says, this book has people's attention. We need to show this book to other people. Don't do anything yet. It isn't time yet. I will let you know when it's time. But if people with existing Amazon accounts, that's another part of this, right? You can't go open an account. You could. If you went, I don't have an Amazon account, I can't help. You need to open an Amazon account. I'm not asking you to do this. You have no reason to do this. If in your life you have never had a reason to have an Amazon account and buy stuff, don't do it now for me. I'm not asking for that. But an Amazon account just created the day the book launches doesn't count. An Amazon account could be created now and you could purchase a few things over the next 2 weeks, you could establish a purchase history, then it would count. But if people with existing Amazon accounts follow my authors page, even if they don't buy the book, Amazon sees a new author has eyes on him. That creates velocity. If when the ebook goes on pre-sale, people put it on a wish list. Again, no purchase necessary, just a wish list. Just a few days before, if they put the ebook on that list, if people pre-order the ebook, which will be deeply discounted for the first 24 hours, by the way, those things build velocity. If people buy copies of the book the first day, that builds velocity. If people post pictures of the book on social media, that builds velocity. If people post links in social media to the Amazon page to buy the book, that builds velocity. If after the book has been out a few days, people who bought the book leave a meaningful review, and not just, it was a great book, but I'm only on chapter 7, but I'll never see the casino floor the same way again. Or, I really like the historical anchor for wisdom number 15. Things like that, reviews like that build velocity. And it builds velocity if the next day, someone who has not purchased the book marks a review as helpful. Now, that's not a complete list. That's an illustration. I think you get the idea. There are things on that list that someone who has no interest in buying the book ever can do. Something a relative could do to help you out because it really has no cost to them other than a few minutes on the Amazon app on their phone. Right? There are things that we could ask people to do that is not going to cost them money. It's not going to have them put a lot of effort in. It's not going to have them have to buy something they don't want. They can still help. Or something that they might want to buy. You might be someone going, I can't wait to buy this book, TRG. I can't wait to read this book. But the reality is, I am going to probably wait till August to buy the book. Fair. Perfectly fair. Not asking you to buy now when you're not ready to buy now. Just saying, could you like the author page? Follow it. Could you put the book on a wish list? Could you post somewhere about it? Could you do those things? I'm not asking you to spend money. I'm certainly not asking you to spend money you don't want to have or don't want to spend. But here's what we're going to do. Next week, I'll officially launch Operation Volcanic Velocity. I'll be doing one segment episodes each day talking about a topic, not talking about the book, but also sharing a mission or missions for the day. Those missions will also be shared via social media. They will be shared via Substack. A list will be available at casinocombat.com/OVV. casinocombat.com/OVV for Operation Volcanic Velocity. And on that same page, you can report that you have completed a mission. When you complete your first mission and submit it to me, I'm going to send you a preview chapter from the book via email so you can have it on hand before the general public gets to take a look at the book. Let me run through that again. I'm going to announce missions. You have various ways to find out about those missions. You can volunteer for a mission and then go complete it and document it. A screen grab, a screen snip, a picture, and then go back to the website and submit it. And when you do that for the first time, I'm going to send you a preview chapter for the book right off the bat so that you can see that. You can volunteer for as many or as few missions as you like. Every time you complete a mission and we verify it, we're going to issue you a digital ticket for a drawing that we will stream roughly a week after the book launch is complete. The more missions you complete, the more tickets you get in the drawing. The top prize for the drawing will be the alpha copy of the soft cover book. The first author's proof. This is one of a kind because I made significant changes to the book based on that proof. And as a result, that book also has my handwritten edits in it. We will have other prizes as well. The prize pool will grow as the number of entries grow. So the more missions the squad volunteers for and complete, the more prizes and the higher the value of prizes that we will give out in the drawing. So if I'm wishing on a shooting star, that's my wish. Amazon showing our book to everyone because as a squad, we went out and conducted Operation Volcanic Velocity successfully. I'm going to wrap up but don't leave. Chip has his own theme song, and it's going to close out the show. Stick around for Chip's theme song. Please tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealers. If you have a host, tip your host. Don't tip away your wins. Remember your casino wisdoms. I have spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. In 10 years, we may find out I was wrong about all of this. It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand I was born a rambling man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Strutting down the carpet like I own the floor. A wink and a handshake, then I'm out the door. Chip is in the house and the room's rearranged. The house owns the math, we own the transaction. Win more, keep more. Shout to the inner circle, shout to the Excelsior Brigade. Our casino combat podcast is how the deals get made. With the hand wraps tight and the shorts in green, Chip the smartest fighter that you've ever seen. The house